We are live in Facebook. Wonderful. So hello and welcome. Thank you all so much for being here with us today for another episode of Yale Alumni Live. This is the second part of two episodes with my friend Elijah Heyward III, class of 2007 at the Yale Divinity School. Earlier this week, Elijah and I chatted on Instagram Live about his experiences at Yale, other institutions, and what has brought him to the International African American Museum in Charleston, South Carolina, and we are absolutely thrilled to have him again today. And he's going to be giving us a behind the scenes look of the construction of the museum and give us a little insight into what the museum will offer when they open, hopefully in 2022. So hard to get that out. I forget where we are in years now that so much time has passed at home, but we are so happy to be here with all of you today. And just as a reminder, the way that we always do Yale Alumni Live is we are live in Zoom and we are live on Facebook. So if you're watching along with us in Facebook today, feel free to put any questions that you have for Elijah into the running stream in the comments. Same thing in Zoom, and I will get those over to him. So without further ado, I'm very happy to welcome and introduce Elijah. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Stephanie, it's great to see you again. How are you doing?
Good. I think I'd be a lot better, though, if I were in Charleston, South Carolina, because it looks absolutely beautiful.
I was going to say the weather's great here, but more importantly, we have something really cool to experience today together. I'll admit, this is my first time doing a Facebook Live, particularly from our site. So, you know, I'm trusting I'm in good hands with you.
Yes, you're going to be fine. Everybody can tell you, like, we've done this about 50 times. We always have a good time together. We love being able to see things from other places around the world that Yaleys guide us around. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to you, Elijah, to tell us where you're standing and a little bit about what's going on. Anybody who's watching, as you have questions, feel free to drop those into the chat. But as a reminder, if you'd like to go back, we do record all of these. So if you'd like to go back and learn a little bit more about Elijah, a little bit about the museum, you can go and check that out on Yale Alumni Vimeo or Yale Alumni YouTube. So Elijah's gonna get us started here, everybody, and I'm excited for all of you to be here with us today virtually in Charleston. So Elijah, take it away.
Well, Stephanie, again, thank you for this amazing opportunity. I'm really excited to welcome all of you viewing today on behalf of our board and amazing staff to Charleston, South Carolina, where I'm standing at the site of the International African American Museum. So I'm gonna flip my phone here to allow for you to take in the view that I currently have. Welcome to our museum. The International African American Museum has a very important mission, which is to honor the untold stories of the African American journey at one of our nation's most sacred sites. This site, where I'm currently standing, is the former Gadsden's Wharf. It's a point of entry for African captives. It's a place where many died, many arrived, and where we will honor this legacy in a really important way. So as you can probably hear, this is actually an active construction site, and we're gonna actually take a trip next door here in a moment. But I thought it'd be good to start here so you can actually see the building, its scale, and more importantly, have a view of the grounds and why this place is so important. So you can see that the building has a very contemporary design, but the real power of this location is the site itself. Secretary of the Smithsonian, Lonnie Bunch, likes to say that history must be told where it happened. So for us, we have really an amazing view of history from our location. So if you look into the view that you see on your screens right now, we have the pathway that slave ships took to get to this very point. In the expanse, you also have Fort Sumter, which is the beginning location of the Civil War, and Sullivan's Island, an important point of quarantine referenced by the likes of Toni Morrison that really brings all of this amazing American history in our location into perspective and really points to why we're building here, this institution that opens next year. The building itself is meant to be rhetorically silent. The idea is that the grounds, which one day will have lush vegetation, will be the focal point, really honoring our location. Right here, you see what looks to be, well, almost like a pool, we'll say, but it's actually a fountain that will have pavers at the bottom that replicate the famous images of the Brooks figures on the slave ship. So we're just thrilled to have the opportunity to be very close to opening next year and have a chance to kind of hang out with you for a bit as I share our experience. So with that, I'm going to flip my camera back. We're going to take a bit of a journey downstairs.
Perfect. Elijah, that view is amazing, and you did it perfectly. So you're like a pro at Facebook Live already. So no need to despair. Can you tell everyone what you told me on Monday about how long this project has been in the making?
This project has been in the making for 20 years. So, you know, the original vision was cast by the former mayor of Charleston, Joseph Riley. And after that initial moment where he shared the vision for our institution, individuals like Ms. Lucille Whipper, Dr. Bernie Powers, and others gathered. You know, they planned, they discussed, they envisioned what we're living into today. So we're just thrilled to be this close to opening next year.
It's so exciting. And tell everyone how long you've been engaged with the museum.
About 2.5 years.
So 2.5 years of 20 years of hard work, love, blood, sweat, and tears, right? For everyone involved. Everyone must be so thrilled. Do you have any plans? I don't think we talked about this on Monday. Do you guys have any plans for any sort of like big opening, or is it kind of going to be dictated with the state of the world?
Oh, it's going to be a huge opportunity to really mark the moment, but more importantly, say thank you to the thousands of people who contributed their time, resources, and really hopes and dreams to making this a reality. So definitely more to come on that front.
Yeah, I'm sure that, you know, you and I talked about on Monday, we have a Yale Club of Charleston, so we definitely hope to get them engaged and get them physically over there with you guys when time allows.
Of course.
Yeah. So what was on that site previously, Elijah? Did someone have to, you know, scout out this site? Was it ever thought that it would be somewhere else, or were you really waiting on this property, this land, to be able to do this?
You know, the site was actually a park, and the city of Charleston purchased the land. So, you know, we're very grateful to have the foresight of the mayor and thinking that one day what we're living into would actually become a reality. Give me one moment. I'm going to mask up, put my eyewear on, and I'm going to head next door.
Awesome. Thanks, Elijah. As you all are watching, please feel free to put questions into the comments for me to get over to Elijah as he takes us through the site. He's going to go inside and show us a couple different locations that have been completed or are close to complete from what I understand. So this is a really exciting opportunity for us to get into the museum before it even opens. And obviously, Elijah just showed us an incredibly significant view of the location and what has happened there and what they are going to honor by building the museum there. So we're very excited to be a part of this. And Elijah has to completely suit up into his construction gear and his mask. So hopefully we won't have any problems with hearing, but I am going to go ahead and put on some closed caption just in case we have any trouble hearing him as he goes through the building with his mask on. So hopefully that will help folks. So Elijah, whenever you're ready to give us a little insight what we're seeing.
Are you with me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're here. We got you.
Okay, great. So we're gonna head next door and check out the building. What I'll say is right now we are standing on the grounds. So you have a view of the scale from where individuals will be able to actually enter the building from underneath. What's fascinating is that the building is designed to actually appear to be floating. So it's a really cool dynamic that it creates by way of offering not only a physical and tangible elevation of the building, but a metaphorical one of the African American experience and the work that we do here.
Elijah, how big is the building when it's complete? What is the square footage of the site?
40,000 square feet.
40,000 square feet.
Okay, so here we are. So this will be the entry point. This plaza is meant to be programmed, so we can envision performances, movement, really an opportunity to engage in the great weather here in Charleston, but also offer a great way to honor the site that we're located. So we are approaching the actual physical entrance to the museum. What's amazing is that every great institution has a great moment of entry. Ours is no different. So these steps actually double as theater seating when we open. We can see the powerful skylight, and straight ahead is where the actual entrance will be located.
That's so smart, so creative use of space. I feel like people are getting more and more accustomed to making multi-purpose space. And I can only imagine how fantastic that would be to be able to walk up and see activity and movement when people arrive at the museum.
All right, so let's head upstairs. It's a little quieter here. This is really a behind the scenes tour, Stephanie, that we're on today.
No, it's fantastic to be able to see it like this, because when you come back a year from now and you give us a grand reveal, we'll all be able to say, remember when Elijah was in an active construction zone showing us around.
Exactly. This is the fun part.
Now, Elijah, are you working from the museum at all? Or is there office space for you and other staff on site right now?
We have a temporary office that's located right next door. But because
so you can watch the progress. That's fun.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah. But, we are practicing social distancing as a team.
Sure.
So the majority of our work is done virtual, like most of us around the world.
Right. Of course.
So here we are. We are upstairs. So just a second ago, we were downstairs, and you can see that the entrance way will lead us up to where we are here with steps that have not yet been installed. So once you mount the steps, you'll find yourself at our entrance, where there'll be 2 revolving doors. Entering the door, we find ourselves in our lobby. The lobby is meant to be an open space that will be accessible with no ticket, which would be great because visitors will have the opportunity to not only enjoy our cafe, which you're seeing right now on the screen, and our museum store, which is right there to my left. So upon entering, the first real experience is our transatlantic gallery, which will be a media installation in this corridor right here. Next, we have the opportunity to engage our orientation film in our theater. And now we find ourselves in a gallery called South Carolina Connections, which is really a powerful place because it centralizes our narrative in the state where we find ourselves, the point of entry, a place that has had such a profound impact on American and global history, and an opportunity to really delve into different topics such as religion, education, social justice, and others. The big marquee piece here will be a digital table located here that'll be leveraged to connect the community and region to the museum by way of narratives. This gallery that we're in now is our Gullah Gee Gallery, focused on Gullah Gee culture. The next gallery is African Routes and Roots, which really honors the fact that our mission is driven by a journey that begins in Africa. And now I find ourselves in this powerful gallery called Atlantic Worlds, which connects Charleston to other port cities around the world. But more importantly, offers the visitor the opportunity to see this view that we saw right next door that connects the dots historically to Fort Sumter, the pathway that slave vessels took to get to this point, and Sullivan's Island, which is kind of hard to see from here, but all is right here. So I would say that this is really a centerpiece of our visitor experience, this view. And it's profound because the view can actually be seen from the other side of the museum as well, once we all are clear and open. So the next gallery we'll enter is called Carolina Gold, which is a nickname for rice. It talks about rice, its cultivation, the economic impact that's had on our country and particularly our state and city, but more importantly, the ingenuity and innovation that African captives had to have to introduce the process of rice cultivation to America. The space I'm now entering is called Studio Time, which is really meant to be a classroom of sorts, a place for us to really engage in intimate and impactful discussions with groups, particularly school groups, around the museum's mission, leveraging artifacts and media to really drive home important information. This is not the fanciest part of our institution. This is our restrooms in the corridor that leads us back into the lobby. But once we enter the lobby and the entrance, we are right at the beginning of our largest linear gallery called American Journeys. So just imagine exhibits on both sides of these walls, exhibits that talk about particular touch points in American history from the point of arrival to today, media installations, interactives, amazing artifacts that kind of do the work of bringing home so many critical lessons. And it's a really great opportunity to put South Carolina and Charleston into a greater global context, as we are so thrilled to be. So turn the corner of our linear gallery, which continues straight across the hallway there, we find ourselves in 3,000 square feet of space, which will be our changing exhibition gallery. It's very important for us that we have a place to display the uncovered information that we will actually be committed to doing as an institution as far as the research that will continue when we open. But to also invite exhibits from outside of Charleston to come to expand the work of our permanent exhibition space. I just love this entryway. I just had to give you another view, especially the skylight.
It is incredible.
And as you can see, there's a clear sight line from the view through this gallery to the other side of the building. So yeah, we're just excited about this space. We're thrilled to be working with Michelin, who will be sponsoring the museum's first traveling exhibition. And once we exit our changing exhibition space, we find ourselves in our Center for Family History. It's a great location. It's the active place. The entire building and grounds will be activated. But this location in particular will be a place where we're looking to do the work of justice around genealogical research to ensure that we're able to really break down the wall of 1870 that's really made the whole research process a challenge for many African-American families. So there'll be exhibits on the walls, kiosks powered by Family Search. And in this room, there'll be a story booth where visitors can record family narratives, and a library that will be on site here. So Stephanie, this is a kind of a nice juncture to maybe wrap things up. I gave you a bit of a speed tour because
you did.
As you see, this is an active site, so we want to make sure that we remain safe and respectful of our partners here. But let me know. Do you think it'd be best to go back downstairs for some questions, or what would you
Yeah,
recommend?
wherever is a safe space for you, Elijah, for us to ask you some questions and to go over some of the things that you mentioned that are going to be in the space. I know I have a couple of questions and a couple of things that I would love for you to share with our audience today that we had touched on Monday. I know that you shared with us kind of the top three, I think, priorities of the museum, and I was hoping you could just kind of reiterate those all in succession for everyone.
Great. So, I mean, as I just kind of alluded to, we have three pillars, we'll say, of the institution. The first is the museum itself. We just saw this amazing place where will be the home to our permanent exhibition. So there will be media installations, objects, a great number of thoughtful exhibits that really delve into the contours and complexities of the African-American journey. The second pillar, and I'm timing this perfectly, Stephanie, is our African Ancestors Memorial Gardens. So right now, we have a great deal of dirt here, but one day, this will be a lush garden that will flank both sides of our plaza. So the idea is that we have a location that allows for people to come and to contemplate, really think about the notions of this journey and how this impact continues to have a presence in our nation today. Steph, I'm taking a bit of a detour. I should be heading back to really talk to you and sit down, but I wanted to show you this water feature, this fountain that I alluded to upstairs, because it's really powerful to consider what this will be. The idea is that there'll be pavers at the bottom of the fountain that will be submerged with water. And the water will cover the pavers and recede, almost resembling how the tide comes up and comes down. So this is a really powerful element of our visitor experience. And here's another view of the East Plaza as well.
You've put a great deal of thought into this, Elijah. It's very apparent.
Sound is not the best, Stephanie.
Okay, we'll give you a second. We'll give you a second.
Just give me a second just to get to a location where I can hear you a little bit better.
I guess we did take Elijah into an active construction zone for today's Yale Alumni Live, so we'll give him a minute. And please do feel free to put those questions into the Q&A or right into the chat on Facebook. We do know that while Elijah's walking, I will tell you all that we are aware that there is a current Yale student who is actually working with the museum, a photography, I don't know if she's a photography major, but she is a photographer, and she is going to have a role with the museum. So we are very excited for that additional connection, that Yale connection to the museum itself. And I will ask Elijah once he gets a second to take a breath to give us a little bit more information about the student and what her project with the museum will be. So Elijah, you let us know when you're in a good spot.
Well, I'm almost there. So Sydney Holmes is a current Yale student, as you mentioned, and her photography will be featured in our Center for Family History. She worked with us to do portraits of African-American families. But before we jump into that, these are the pavers that'll be found at the bottom of the fountain.
Oh, wow.
The idea is that they're meant to replicate the notable rendering called the Brooks figures, essentially bodies lined on the slave ship. So I just wanted to offer this view. This is a mock-up of, how the brick and everything looks. The columns will be covered with the tabby. The idea is that this is meant to give the feel of being underwater. And the balcony finishes will look just like this on all four sides of the building. So I'm closer to getting to a good point to have a nice chat with you. I think I'm actually going to head back upstairs. So if you want to ask some questions.
Yeah, we did. We got a couple great questions. Awesome. Here, I'm going to put us side by side here, so it's like we're in real life having a conversation, which I certainly miss. So there was actually a great question from Mark, who's watching in Zoom, which is one of the questions that I was going to ask you, as a matter of fact.
Mark,
which is,
hope you're doing well.
Which is, could you describe for us the nature and scope of some of the artifacts that you plan to display? And I was actually going to ask you a very similar question, is where have you sourced them from? Have you gotten some interesting donations that you may be able to share with us? Just give us a little detail about the artifacts that you're going to have, if you can.
I'll say this, we're currently exploring this in real time. We're at the juncture in our development process where we're actually looking for and acquiring objects. The great thing is that there's so many individuals out there who are really excited about donating and allowing us to actually borrow particular objects, as well as institutions. One exciting piece is a piece by Dave the Potter. He's recently featured in the HBO documentary about Black art. So we're really excited to display his work in our museum. And there's another piece that's called Ashley's Sack that essentially has a message that was engraved in the sack for an enslaved young lady that we also have on display as well. So the idea is to really offer the visitor exposure to objects and artifacts that help us to expound upon key points in our collection. And just grateful to have a lot of amazing pathways to really bring this all together.
That's really exciting. One of the other galleries that you mentioned, Elijah, was the Gullah Gee. I don't remember exactly what you said about it, but that there is a gallery dedicated to that. Will you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I'm a proud Gullah Gee native, and I'm really excited that our institution is one that will really explore contemporary Gullah Gee culture. I think the view is better just of the building, so I'm gonna just do that.
There's no sun in your eyes that way, so.
Yeah. So the idea is that the Gullah Gee Gallery looks at the contemporary landscape of Gullah Gee identity. We honor the fact that this community is one that still thrives, that has connection points not only to West Africa, but around the country and world, given its centrality to the African diaspora, and more importantly, has a strong presence here in Charleston on the corridor that is from the tip of Wilmington to Jacksonville, Florida, along the coast and the Barrier Islands. There's a way in which this art culture has really had an amazing impact on American culture and identity. So we're just thrilled to really put it in conversation with the greater African American journey in our collection.
Absolutely. And, you and I spent a bit of time talking about the family history, and I absolutely love that you have dedicated a space to allow families to record their stories, which I think, this year more than ever, we've really seen a lot of storytelling to connect people. So what do you most look forward to with that space, Elijah, like on a personal level? Like, do you think people are going to really connect with that? Do you see that as being something that, grandparents are doing, young people are doing? Just talk a little bit more about that. I just think that's a really exciting aspect of the museum.
Oh, so what's exciting is that our Center for Family History is actually currently active and open right now. So it's one way in which we're actually furthering our mission in real time as we wait for our building to be completed. I think that what's powerful, Stephanie, is the fact that, we have an opportunity to invite visitors to our gardens, to really, engage with the genius of Walter Hood, who really conceptualized the ways in which the landscape can be a didactic tool. We have the building itself, which is a monument that's beautiful to see and visit, that has already been honored by Architectural Digest. We have our collection in the interior of the building that's going to house media and artifacts and really allow for a place for people to come together to not only benefit from the collection, but thought leaders and traveling shows. But then the Center for Family History offers the visitor an opportunity to have a tangible takeaway, one that's personal, one that is offers research tools and lessons, and one that really connects the dots in a way that makes history come alive in a personal way. So I think that for us, just having such an element be part of our visitor experience really helps to drive our mission home in a really powerful way.
Absolutely. So if people wanted to get more information about that Center for Family History, what they could do that now, and how could they do that?
Our website actually is the best place. So please visit our website, www.iaamuseum.org. From there, there'll be a link to actually go to our Center for Family History to learn more. But more importantly, you can see where we are in our journey. You can follow our social media. You can learn more about our partners, and consider becoming a member. It's the best way to be connected and to contribute to making this amazing institution that you see next door come to life.
It really is incredible. Elijah, what do you think? I mean, everything is going to be, I feel like your answer is going to be, well, of course, all of it. But what do you think really makes the museum stand out amongst other museums? I mean, I'm guessing what you might say, but tell me what you think.
I would say this, we're just really proud to have so many amazing colleagues around the world that are doing the work. Mm-hmm. We're joining a landscape of institutions that are really committed to preserving history at the highest level, particularly African-American museums and institutions. So with that, for us, it's not really how we stand out, it's how we add and how we support the work that's already being done. And for us, it's reimagining a very sacred site. The fact that Charleston was the single greatest point of entry for African captives in America is really important, because it offers us a touch point, a place of pilgrimage, and a place to really consider the origins of so many of the questions that we're answering today, or seeking to answer rather, around race and identity, and the whole notion of citizenship, and the ways in which we all can work together to build bridges of understanding. So for us, it's the location that makes us an addition to an already amazing field of museums and institutions that we're really excited to honor, to use as a standing ground to promote and preserve American history from the African American perspective, and to invite people in to really expand their awareness and knowledge in ways that can really be transformative.
Elijah, I've been, since talking to you on Monday, I have been talking to all of my friends about the museum. So I think that very much rings true. I have learned a significant amount that I did not know previously, just in talking to you about the site of the museum and what the museum will offer. So I'm just very excited to be able to watch it unfold over the next year or so. Would you just tell everyone, since we probably have a slightly different audience than we did the other day, will you just tell everyone a little bit about your path to the museum, a little bit about your educational background, your time at Yale, just really quick, not as in-depth as we did last week, but I just think it's very interesting how you came to be at the museum based on your educational experiences to now. Would you share a little bit of that?
Sure. So I'm a native of Beaufort, South Carolina, which is about an hour and a half south of Charleston. I spent my summers here. Both my parents have roots in Charleston by way of family and their professional trajectories. I attended college at Hampton University, where I studied history and leadership studies, was really engaged in the museum at Hampton. I can say I was also raised in museums and libraries back home in Beaufort. So I always had an abiding passion for history, knowledge, and the institutions that allowed them to foster and flourish for young people like me. So after Hampton, attended Yale Divinity School. Was really enamored by Sterling and the ways in which Yale was an amazing resource to really interpret and engage with history in creative ways. And I did that, as a student. We wrote plays. We, studied at different schools like the business school. There was an amazing playground of resources and opportunities to really expand and prepare ourselves to do the work of justice that, is so important and integral today. So after that, I moved to DC, where I expanded on the project that I started as a Yale President's Public Service Fellow called the Youth Scholar Academy. Did that for about 5 years. Found my way to UNC Chapel Hill, where I did a PhD in American Studies, and then seized the opportunity to come back home to Charleston to be a part of this amazing team to build the International African American Museum. So in many ways, history has always been something I've been excited about, and it's great to be back home in South Carolina, where we're doing amazing work to centralize the African American experience where it should be, as a greater part of the American experience here on sacred ground.
Thanks, Elijah. I just find it so interesting that you started, in school, working with museums and what a central role that has played to your experience and your career trajectory. So I think that our time together has come to a close for today, but I am very excited to have been able to be with you this afternoon to get a really behind the scenes look at the museum, the construction and the site itself. And we would love to do this again, of course, in maybe a couple months' time, see some progress perhaps would be amazing.
Hey, progress happens here every day, so but you have an open welcome and opportunity from our standpoint to join us here in Charleston anytime. I look forward to coming back, updating the audience about our progress. But again, thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you to all those who are tuning in. This is definitely a first for me. So I think it's kind of an interesting opportunity to kind of test out a new platform. But we are just thrilled to invite all of you to join us on this journey. And there's actually a live feed of our site. So if you want to follow along our progress in that way as well, you can see that from our website.
I was just going to say, when you said there's progress every day, I was going to say, I saw that you have a live stream for people to check in, but we like the behind the scenes look with you, Elijah. That's the fun part. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop the live stream on Facebook, say goodbye to our Facebook friends. I'm going to stay here for a moment in Zoom.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for being here with us. We're going to be back in March with some really interesting things, really interesting Yaleys to talk to. Thank you, Elijah. Thanks to your team for helping us organize this today. So say goodbye to Facebook. We'll see you in Zoom. And until next time, everybody. Okay, so we're off of Facebook right now because we're going to get timed out there, I think. So I appreciate so much you being here with us today. I would really love to do this again, for sure, maybe before you open, but we'll definitely try and team up with our Yale Club of Charleston for sure to get them there on site when the museum is open.
Sounds good. I look forward to it.
Awesome.
Well, Stephanie, this is great. Duty calls, so I have to hop off, but
thanks, Elijah.
It's good to have this opportunity.
Take care. Thanks for watching, everybody. Right. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Take care. Thank you.